Do you think you need to know all the answers to be a great educator? Think again. Embrace the I don't know mentality in your classroom. Here's a truth that educators probably won't tell you. You don't need to know it all to be an effective teacher. Are you learning from your children as much as they're learning from you? Let's talk about why this is so important for your growth.
Welcome to the I Am Education podcast, where we explore transformative ideas for parents, educators, and anyone passionate about shaping the future of learning and humanity. Join us as we dive into the latest insights, practical tools, and inspiring conversations that empower both children and adults to thrive. Let's unlock the potential of education together. I am education for the love of learning.
My name is Jason Alexander, and I'm here to discuss the world of behaviours, parenting, and early childhood education. I'm excited today to dive into a powerful topic, one that has greatly impacted how I view myself as an educator. The simple truth is, we need to be learners as much as we are teachers. Now, before we begin, I need to ask you something. How do you see yourself as an educator? Are you someone who simply imparts knowledge? Do you view your role as a journey of growth and continuous learning? Today, we'll talk about the importance of being a lifelong learner in education. We'll explore why, as educators, we cannot afford to get comfortable in the role of the expert. Instead, we must always maintain a learner's mindset, not just for the benefit of the children, but for our own growth as professionals as well. When most people think about the role of an educator, they may picture someone at the front of the room teaching lessons and imparting their wisdom and knowledge. But this is only part of the story. Yes, teaching is an essential function of what we do. But I believe the most impactful educators are those who embrace the notion of being lifelong learners themselves. This mindset goes beyond simply updating your teaching strategies or learning a new curriculum. It involves embracing curiosity and a willingness to constantly evolve, both personally and professionally. Think about it. When you're in the classroom, you're not only teaching children, you're also learning from them every day. They show you new perspectives, they challenge your assumptions, and they provide feedback on what works and what doesn't. The learning is two-way. So do you view students and children in your classroom as partners in the learning journey? Do you find opportunities to learn from their ideas, from their experiences, and get feedback from them? Now, this shift in perspective can dramatically change how you engage with your children and create a dynamic, vibrant learning environment. One of the key ways we grow as educators is through reflection. But it's not just about reflecting on what happened in the classroom. True reflection comes from when we learn from these experiences. We learn from the wins, and we learn from the many, many mistakes. Every lesson, every conversation, every moment with a child is a chance to learn and to improve. So you can ask yourself, what went well today? Why did that happen? What didn't go as planned? What could I have done differently? What did I learn from my children today? Did I challenge myself to try something new? Now, reflection doesn't just help us identify areas for improvement. It also gives us the perfect opportunity to celebrate our wins, to celebrate the growth that we're having, and help us acknowledge the moments where we've stepped outside our comfort zone and grown as an individual. As educators, we need to continually ask ourselves all of these questions to keep growing. And so if you're not setting regular time to reflect on your practices, I encourage you to do so. And if you find it daunting to write a journal each day or each week, personally, the approach I like to use is speaking out loud. I set time aside. Car drives work extremely well for me to set my phone up and just record my voice and about speaking through my struggles. What I find is I'm able to work through them with much more confidence and clarity than writing does for me. The style of reflection really isn't the main focus. The process of reflection is what you need to be focusing on. And so by reflecting on our experiences, we can identify patterns in our practices and adjust accordingly. The most effective reflections are those that encourage accountability. The world of education is constantly evolving. As we've seen over the years, the way we teach, the tools we use, and even the role of technology in the classroom are all changing rapidly. To be an effective educator, we need to be open to these changes and we need to be willing to adapt. So this means actively seeking out professional development, staying informed about new research, and just genuinely being curious about how a different approach can benefit the children in your class. So my story. 10 years ago, I've been teaching at this point for 8 years, and I found myself on the tail end of boredom in the world of early learning. I was considering throwing it all away, throwing it to the side and venturing into anything else. I loved working with children. I loved the connections I could build with them, but I found myself stuck in a way that truly didn't align with who I was as an educator. And so a lifeline was thrown out to me, and I ventured out of traditional early learning into the world of Montessori education. And to say I was out of my depth would be a complete understatement. In the 12 months that followed, I experienced more breakdowns in the storeroom than I had ever had. Anxiety and anxious thoughts plagued my everyday, and I had no idea what I was doing. After experiencing this for a year, I decided that the only thing that had changed from my usual experiences, where I was confident, where I knew what I was doing, where I was a kick-ass educator, was the Montessori approach. In my mind at that time, I decided Montessori was causing all of this, and I needed to go back to where it was safe, back to traditional early learning. And so the next 12 months, I noticed a change in how I approached the classroom. And I found myself unintentionally leaning into the Montessori philosophy, making these amazing resources, taking photos of them, sending them to other educators that I know, and like, look what I'm doing. And the consistent response was, Jay, you're doing Montessori stuff. Shut up. No, I'm not. It would happen again. It would happen again. It would happen again. And so what I realized in these 12 months was that Montessori did align with who I was as an educator, but the pressure to perform was gone. I was allowing myself to just experience Montessori education and understand that it wasn't this big, scary thing that I'd made it out to be. It actually aligned with my values as an educator. But the pressure I was putting on myself personally to change was overshadowing any transformation that was taking place. And so after 12 months of back in traditional early learning, I returned to Montessori, running a center as an ECT and director, and have never looked back. In this moment, I had to be real with myself and realize that it was my desire to change that was forcing something that was going to happen naturally. I needed to allow this change to happen without judgment. The impact this had on me as an educator is huge. It has completely changed the trajectory of everything that I was working on and everything that I was working towards. But the focus was being curious with what I was creating, with what I was exploring, with who I was as an educator. And as soon as I stopped trying to force things to happen, life just happened for me. And so this willingness to adapt to change and experiment with things is crucial. As educators, we have to keep on learning. When we lean into the discomfort of learning something new, whether it's a new teaching method, learning new technology, or simply expressing and experiencing a different way of thinking, we set an example for others, showcasing that learning is a lifelong pursuit. But just remember to be kind to yourself in this process. It's not always about getting it right the first go. You need to make mistakes to learn. You learn in discomfort. And so a growth mindset is not just something that we encourage in children. It's something that we have to embrace ourselves. We often hear the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And this is especially true in education. No matter how many years you've been teaching, there's always more to learn. And so I'm going to share something with you that may feel a bit uncomfortable at first. As a teacher, there is power in saying the words, "I don't know." As educators, we often feel the pressure to have all the answers. We have parents coming to us asking about parenting. We have other educators coming to us asking about educating. We have children coming to us asking about learning, asking about the world. But the real power comes for an educator when they can admit that they don't know something. And ultimately, in these moments, we're modeling to children, we're modeling to parents, and modeling to educators that it's okay not to have all the answers right away. This openness to learning can create a more inclusive and open classroom environment where curiosity thrives. Imagine a parent or an educator asking you a question you don't know the answer to. I'm the first one to admit previously, I wouldn't brush it off. That's the strategy. I would pretend to know what I was talking about and start coming up with big words. And it didn't always work. But what I've learned to adopt is a curiosity mindset of, I'm actually not sure. This is what I think in regards to this, but I don't know the actual answer. Leave it with me and I'll find out. And better yet, for those educators that are leading a team as well, one of the most empowering things you can do in a moment when a parent or an educator comes to ask you a question where you don't know the answer, if you have an educator on your team that knows the answer or is fantastic with this type of stuff, if it's a passion of theirs, respond with, this educator is great with this stuff. Let's go and ask them. It's such a powerful teaching and learning moment for everyone involved. So by being comfortable with not knowing everything, we invite the possibility of new learning experiences to actually take place, both for ourselves and for others. So how do we continue to learn and grow as educators? Here's a few things that can keep that learning mindset active that you can do right now. Seek out professional developments. Attend workshops, webinars, conferences related to your field. Even if it's a topic that you already know a lot about, you will learn more if you open yourself up to being able to learn. Collaborate with others. As educators, it can feel lonely at times, but you have so much to learn from each other. Lean on each other. Lean on each other's experiences. Ask about other educators' experiences with a particular style of teaching, with an issue you're having. Create a collaborative classroom. It's not you versus them. It's you both working together to help children. Embrace discomfort. Immerse yourself in a different way of thinking. Sit at a table where you don't agree with everyone. The more you can expose yourself to different ways of thinking, the more you refine your own thought processes and the thoughts of others. Embrace challenging conversations with people who you don't necessarily agree with. But just remember, it's not about proving I'm right and you're wrong. It's about you learning more about the world. And finally, practice self-care. The best educators, the most effective educators are those who take care of themselves. They take time to work on their mental, to work on their emotional, to work on their physical health. When we're feeling balanced, when we're feeling healthy, when we're feeling regulated, we're simply in a better place to continue learning and teaching. Now, thank you for listening. Please, if any of this was beneficial to you, please share this with educators that you know, that you love, and help them continue to become learners themselves. Until next time, stay learning.